Hello and welcome to the Better in Business podcast. Okay, so we're on the home stretch of a 5-part series of podcasts. So we are going to talk about team today, specifically why I say you won't win the game without a winning team. And hopefully I can convince you of that as I seek to explain how you will do that in order to do better in business. So if you haven't listened to the last episode, this is a 5-part ecosystem, meaning when you combine them all, they all work together. Okay, so there's time, aka productivity, then we did tech, then AI, then lead with purpose, and now we are on to what does it look like to bring on team? Maybe you've got a team now, maybe you're all by yourself, maybe you're thinking hiring people costs lots of money, maybe you think of team as hiring local full-time staff when team is really anyone that you engage to help you in your business, part-time, full-time, contractor, supplier, anything. What does it look like to have a team? So let's dive into that and I will see you in there. You've tuned into the Better in Business podcast, and I'm your host, Jeannie Savage. I'm a multi-award winning business veteran and head of the Strategic Bookkeeper Network. My network of strategic bookkeepers is dedicated to helping entrepreneurs do better in business. This podcast aims to challenge your thinking. If you're not thinking the right way, how can you act the right way? Each episode will dive into key drivers of success, which I also call the rules of the game. Learn the rules and play to win. Let's go. I like to start every episode by reminding you that it is globally recognized that pillar number 1 for success is up-to-date, accurate bookkeeping, which is the only way you can see how your business is performing in terms of profit and cash. If your books aren't right up to date, visit betterinbusiness.global, drop me a line and I'll connect you with a certified strategic bookkeeper. Fire your bookkeeper and hire a strategic bookkeeper. Bookkeeping is a cost, whereas strategic bookkeeping is an investment that averages a 10x return on the fees. Okay, so in terms of team, and it definitely works alongside these other concepts that I've just talked to you about, time, tech, AI, and leading with purpose. Some of the mistakes that I see entrepreneurs make around team, and there's quite a few, remembering that 8 out of 10 or more entrepreneurs will not find the success they're looking for. And one of the reasons for that is definitely around team. So number one is not really understanding the value or importance of team. And that is probably linked to really not understanding the moving parts of a business. As Michael Gerber says in the E-Myth, the skills and experience required to run a successful business are vastly different to those required to do the job. Okay, so I'll give you a very simple example. So to be a hairdresser, to be a technically skilled hairdresser is one thing. You can be an amazing hairdresser, best hairdresser in the universe, but you could fail at trying to run a hair salon. And I'm looking at the business mastery blueprint here. You might fail because you don't have a clear brand that connects with your audience. You don't have a way to fill up a pipeline of inquiries. You don't have a products and pricing system built for profit. You bring on team, but you're a B leader and a B manager, like a nice guy, people-pleasing manager, and you also don't have standard operating procedures. So therefore you end up with problems and broken promises, and that affects your clientele. So there are so many moving parts to a business, and I think the two are very linked, the mistakes around team and entrepreneurs really just not understanding what's required. And an entrepreneur said to me a little while ago, Jeannie, before I met you, before I worked with you, I thought I understood what a business was. I thought I had a business. But he said that after working with me for a while, he realized he didn't really have a business. He was just a sales person that wanted to make sales. And he said he had no idea what was really involved in owning and operating and running a business that would work, okay? Because we need our businesses to work for us before they're successful, meaning we need to get all the things in place so that we can bring in the revenue, so that we can have a nice pipeline of inquiries, right? Or pipeline of work coming through, so that that results in most people saying yes, usually regardless of price. We don't want to compete on price, which most people don't. Some people will choose that price is their lever, but to do that, we need to prove that with 1 and 2 and 3 clients so that we can scale that into working with all of our clients. So that's when I say a business that works versus a business that's highly successful. Because a broken business will scale into a busy business that often has zero profit and time, and the entrepreneur hates and declares bankruptcy. Okay, so we need to have a model that works to scale and build a thriving business rather than a broken model. Now, I'll pause for a minute and let you know that as you listen to this, I'm really passionate as I move forward in the Better in Business podcast to make sure that you understand that if you need help doing better in business, if you're at that point where you think, I've got to do something. If I do nothing, nothing will change. The conversation with us is a great way to start, okay? Because we need to understand more about you and what you need in order to help you with the solution that's right for you. And as you may have heard me say in previous podcasts, I'm so passionate in this landscape that we live in these days to offer you options around DIY, done with you and done for you, so we can really cater to where you are in business, okay? So if at any time during this podcast you want to reach out with an email to hello@betterinbusiness.global, please go for it. So one of the mistakes I see entrepreneurs make with team, and it's around not understanding the values of team, is where I see entrepreneurs believe that they need to be able to do most things themselves, right? Even if they're going to bring in a team in the future. I've seen this absolutely kill businesses that are more in that earlier phase, okay? You don't need to be able to do everything yourself. In fact, it is more of a skill set to understand how to recruit and manage people who can do the things for you, okay? So if we took the hairdresser as an example, if you have an entrepreneur who really understands business, they could open a hairdressing salon without ever understanding how to do the hair. So it's probably more important to understand how to run a business, how to recruit and manage a team that can bring your vision to life. Remember, in the last podcast, we talked about leading with purpose, and your purpose is in reality inside that vision, or it is that vision, okay? More important to be able to do that. I see entrepreneurs think, well, I need to learn all the things, I need to do all the things. And then there's this negative self-talk and self-sabotage because I can't do this, I can't do that. As we talked about in the tech episode, this is why I'd love you to listen to all of these 5 episodes in a linear fashion, and then maybe listen to them again to use them as a mini course. The next mistake I see entrepreneurs make is not understanding what a team really is, okay? So thinking that team means recruiting a full-time staff member just up the road from you, and that's what a team is. No, that's not what a team is. You could recruit a full-time staff member near you. It depends if you find someone near you full-time that suits your budget and requirements, because that would lead me to the budget for the team member, okay? We see budget blowouts where you go and spend more than you can afford. Absolutely, you need to spend money to make money, but it needs to work in the financials, okay? So you'll hear in the intro of my podcast, I teach you about this, right? You've got to be paying attention to your numbers, and this is why we're so passionate about getting you to talk to and maybe work with a strategic bookkeeper, okay? So basically this mistake around, well, that's what team is. Yeah, I will say to you, no, team is anyone that you recruit to help you in your business, and you can pay them from $0 to many dollars, and they can be anywhere all around the world. So I have team in South Africa, the Philippines, in Bali, in Australia. Is that it at the moment? And don't think too that if you have team in a certain country. With the way the economy is these days, that person might be, for example, an American living in Australia, an Australian living in Indonesia, New Zealander living in Bali. That's what I have got. My staff member in Bali is actually from New Zealand and her husband is in Australia. That probably leads me to embracing the global economy and the global workforce, okay? When we talked about AI, I talked about adapt or die. It breaks my heart when I hear entrepreneurs say, oh, I don't want to recruit overseas. It'll steal Australian jobs. I don't want to use AI for this reason and that reason. Do you know the Kodak story? Okay, I'm not going to tell the Kodak story today, but in a nutshell, even though it was a Kodak engineer that developed the first digital camera, they buried their head in the sand and did not want to go digital, right? They owned the film space. They ended up declaring bankruptcy because they refused to adapt. And digital cameras wasn't the end of humanity, okay? Now we all have them. We don't even think about it, all right? So change, we need to adapt. As in nature, so too in business. Plants adapt, humans need to adapt or you'll die, and your business is the same. So if you have not embraced that we live in a global economy and we have a global workforce where it's even hard to tax people, like one of my businesses is global. We have clients all over the world. So where is my business located? Well, I'm in Australia when I'm in Australia. What about when I'm somewhere else? Where's my business? We live in a global economy now, okay, where borders are very blurry. And so in regards to what is team, yes, I have a full-time staff member around the corner from me. Yeah, 10 minutes around the corner. She's amazing. Yeah, but I also have team everywhere. Some are full-time, some are part-time. We also live in what's called a gig economy. You could have mentors that you think of as part of your team. Okay, so if you're listening to this podcast, in many ways, you put me on your team. If you're able to take action that moves the needle in your business, well, your team is helping you, right? The next mistake I see entrepreneurs make is believing that they can build success without a team. That's not true. You can't. Okay, very black and white. I love black and white. I love when there's no gray. So the analogy I use is imagine that you are going to a football match and there's going to be the best football player in the world there. And we all know that he is the best football player in the world and they put him on the field against the worst team in the world. Who's going to win the game? Well, the worst team is. And it's a really good analogy. Even though it's simple, it's really, really good because as a solopreneur, as soon as humanly possible, you need to bring on team. And working with an entrepreneur over the last year, he really did not know any of this stuff. And as I began to introduce him to it all, and we slowly got him some help in all different areas of his business, not with any full-time team, and not necessarily with anyone local around the corner. Okay, we got him a strategic bookkeeper, a virtual assistant, a little bit of support here and there with bits and bobs. Okay, we supported him with brand marketing and selling as well. So he put us on his team. He put a strategic bookkeeper on his team. He put a virtual assistant on his team, and it was all within his budget. The strategic bookkeeper was through the profit and loss. That has allowed him to do better in business and fill up a pipeline and move forward. Okay, just the same as it can do for you. So who's the first person that you need to put on your team? Well, I have heard it said, not just by me, but by other high-end business strategists and coaches, that the first person you need to put on your team is a strategic bookkeeper. And I do hope that in my intro that I am clear about why. Okay, if your numbers aren't up to date and accurate, you cannot see how your business is performing. If you are looking at the bank account, then that's one of the reasons over 80% of businesses go broke, and sometimes they don't know they're going broke. The bank account's got nothing to do with how your business is performing. You need the numbers up to date and accurate so you can see that in the financials. And then you need to make decisions around win the work and do the work, right? Front end and back end of your business based on what you can see in the numbers. Okay, so that's why a lot of business coaches will say the first person you need is a strategic bookkeeper. Now, most small business entrepreneurs are bringing that strategic bookkeeper on a limited amount of hours per month. So it will fit into the budget and pay for itself. Okay, we find on average, our clients get about a 10x return yearly on strategic bookkeeping. Often that happens very quickly. So we can see the 10xing happen very, very quickly because there's very quick wins. So you get the quick wins, lots of things that we can see or help you see. So you can make decisions to save and make money. And then from there, we just look for that nice, consistent improvements and support in the business. But that's what I often see is big wins really quick. Like I could tell you stories where 15 minutes we've saved $100,000. Okay. But after that, we're not saving $100,000 every month. We're just improving and being consistent. But we see the quick wins very quickly. And that's really because there's been no attention paid to the numbers whatsoever. So once there is some attention paid, we see a lot that can be attacked very quickly. So that's the first person. And the second person is what I call the jack of all trades or Jill of all trades. And that is your executive assistant. I'm not as fussed on virtual assistant because I think you need a really central, important person in this role. You absolutely can get them from anywhere in the world, okay? And that is going to be someone who helps you generally with the administration. So I would call them like an admin support, and that admin support will be able to do quite a few things which kind of come after strategic bookkeeping. So you have your strategic bookkeeper who can also do the bookkeeping. So bookkeeping, up-to-date, accurate numbers. Strategic bookkeeping, investigate the numbers. And then beyond that, you've got kind of more like your business coaching. Under that, you tend to have accounts clerks and office staff, okay? Office staff is that admin support, right? So very small business entrepreneurs, the office person, the admin person can do like the accounts clerk role and the admin stuff. So what I mean by that is maybe creating invoices, maybe collecting money, just anything in the financials which isn't the real bookkeeping, because bookkeeping is double entry accounting. And a big mistake that entrepreneurs make is thinking that bookkeeping is like admin or accounts. It's not. It's double entry accounting technician. That's what a bookkeeper is. So please don't make the mistake of hiring an admin support or an accounts clerk, giving them the double entry accounting, aka bookkeeping, and then wondering why they get it all wrong, okay? Bookkeeping is a form of accounting, and that's why you need a specialist to do that. So the second hire is going to be that admin general support that can do the admin, the accounts, and sometimes they can do the marketing admin. Like they might be able to create some basic social media and schedule social media. They can take care of your email database. They might be able to set up some emails to go out, all under your clear direction as a leader. Okay, so we talked about leading in the last episode. When you're the leader and you set the vision, you can bring a team through, and you might, for example, hire someone for a short-term project to help you with strategically what you're doing around social media. And then your admin support might be the person that just executes what you paid someone a bit more money for, okay? So team can be all these different people that come in short-term and long-term to support you to bring your vision to life, and also to support you, going back to the beginning of the podcast, to support you to do all the things in your business that are required to make it work properly, to make it work, right? To make the business work. So you scale a working business, not a broken business. The next mistake I see entrepreneurs make is in the way they recruit. That's a massive, massive, massive one. I've seen big businesses, small businesses, and everywhere in between make massive mistakes. So I've got a lot of skills and acumen and experience in recruitment, in recruiting the appropriate staff members. Now, there is an end-to-end process that starts with understanding your own psychometrics. We talked about that in the podcast on time, okay? So it's really understanding all about your own zone of genius, whether your brain is kind of left or right, all these different things. Then it's about how to really look at the organization flow chart. Now, that is far less complex than you may be thinking. Literally take a pen and paper and write down the kind of roles that are in the business now or that need to be in the business. So sometimes I just go to my whiteboard and I might just start writing up CEO at the top, general manager under, whatever it is, okay? But think about if you're wearing 5 hats, then you're kind of doing the job of 5 people and you could write them up in an org flow chart, okay? So understanding what I call who's who in the zoo and what do they do. If you have team or if you don't, it's really understanding that org flow chart. And then the position description, which in many ways is the job ad, is the what do they do. So if I'm in business all by myself and I need a strategic bookkeeper, that's because I need someone to do the day-to-day bookkeeping and also to do those management meetings where they help me look at the numbers and make decisions around it, right? So you call that, I need a bookkeeper and I need a strategic bookkeeper on my org flow chart. And then what am I going to get them to do? Well, you could absolutely have a meeting with a strategic bookkeeper. You could record that Zoom meeting. You could use those notes with AI to create that for you. This is why this 5-part series is such an ecosystem. Trust me now, believe me later. These 5 things that I'm covering in these 5 podcasts really do work together, okay? So once we have the position description, also known as the job ad, because the two are very similar, they're just framed up differently, then we can go out and actually look for the right person who fits the bill, fits the job, with the right skills and experience and attitude, and we can bring them through. I like to use forms so that I'm not interrupted. Nobody can call me. They have to use a form, show me that they're capable of doing that, and then we can recruit the right person for the right job. Now, where I see entrepreneurs go wrong is they think I need someone, so they go and hire fast without doing all the hard work that I just told you there. They go and hire someone really fast. They're not really the right person for the job. They don't even fit in with their budget. And they say, they're not doing what I asked them to do. They're not really clear about what they're meant to do anyway, because they haven't done all that end-to-end recruitment process. So someone I know who's really amazing in HR, he said to me once, Jeannie, we want to hire slow and fire fast. And I live and die by that. We want to hire slow and fire fast. So I put all my effort into that foundation recruitment process, and then I do some of the recruitment or I do none of it. Okay, so I can do none of the recruitment, but as long as my process, my standard operating procedure is right, then I am going to get the right person for the right job. And we want round pegs in round holes. We want the right people in the right job. So if you don't have skills and experience around recruitment, you need to ask for help. Now, we can absolutely help you with that. Once again, it's a conversation, and then it's serving up something that's either DIY, so that's usually courses and resources done with you, which is a combination of consulting, coaching, and the courses and resources, or done for you, where you just pay money, have it all done for you. Even with all my recruitment acumen, I sometimes use recruiters. So I was recruiting in South Africa earlier last year, and I paid 5,500 Australian dollars to have someone do that recruitment for me, okay? I did say to the recruiter, look, given that I am really good at this stuff, why should I use you? And he explained it to me and I completely agreed. So I went forward with it. That was a done for you option where I didn't really have to do much other than look at some resumes and make a few decisions, okay? So you should always be able to get solutions across those 3 options to suit your budget, your time, and where your business is at. So what have you learned from this podcast, and what are you going to do next? So how can you recruit a winning team so you can win the game of business and avoid being one of the shocking business failure statistics that are out there? Are you going to consider listening to this 5-part series again? And are you going to consider reaching out and saying, help, Yeah, so we can have a conversation and we can help you. I've got an amazing network of certified strategic bookkeepers all over the world, and myself, along with the Better in Business global platform, the academy, everything we've got, the proven systems that have helped entrepreneurs for ages, we can help you as well. But it does start with taking a step. And I recommend that step is to reach out. And I'll see you in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed that episode as much as I enjoyed recording it. I would love to help you start doing better in business right now by giving you a free little ebook. It's a how-to guide. It's called The 7 Deadly Cash Flow Sins. And also I've developed a business health check for you. It's super high value. Both are available at betterinbusiness.global. If you would like to fire your bookkeeper and hire a strategic bookkeeper to start enjoying a return on investment and get the support you need to optimize your business cash and profit and time wealth, simply visit betterinbusiness.global, drop me a line and I'll connect you with a certified strategic bookkeeper near you. I'll see you in the next episode.